This test.
Oh. Welcome to the Battle Pod. That's right, the only podcast where I do the intro because Dion doesn't want to. The Battle Pod. The name of the podcast has always been. You remember the last episode that said Battle Pod at the top? You remember that? I remember that. If you don't remember that, you forgot. And it's not because we didn't have a name when we first did this. I'm Connor, and with me today is Dion, the baller. Lunsford.
That's the wrong audience. Oh my goodness. We have Dion Lunsford here. Good to be back. We did decide on a name, as you heard. Went with the Battle Podcast.
We retcon the name. That's what it's always been. Don't let me catch you in the comments saying anything else.
So, yeah. We're back here talking about some more Commanders Star Realms content that you all love, that I love. Yeah. What are we doing today, Connor?
We are looking at the results of Event 8, the final event of a great format that only a big brain person would ever come up with. It's a great and fun format that is as balanced as you can be with Yokum in it. So, we've got, in first place, the Yarboa Constrictor. That name's not going to stick. In second place, we've got Cephas Ripper. And in third, we've got Alderin, once again, coming in top. A lot of points netted for these three. All of them on, of course, Yokum.
Yeah, how did the top 8 round out? Can we see the...
Yeah. We can scroll down. They're listed as tied here, but in fourth we have One Care Less. That could be anyone, even Juan Carlos. Hypaspis on a Nandi. Once again, outside of Honey Bun, seeing Nandi do well. We've got ECM on Yokum. And we've got Corey Bear on McCree. And JP and his funny run on McCree.
Yes, for those who aren't familiar with the top 8 seeding and double elimination tournament, you'll see ties for 5th, ties for 7th. Those are basically just tied for top 8s and top 6 respectively. So 5th and 6th are going to be tied for 5th. Same exact placement, same thing for 7 and 8, making top 8 finishes by themselves. And one of my favorite things about the tournament, this style of tournament, is that it pinpoints 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, just straight up, and you play games to determine who gets those placements. So, so we did play in the Frontiers format with second-year promos, the Alliance. Sorry, I keep on saying Alliance. What is it? Assault. United Assault, right?
Yeah.
I said this multiple times in the last one, too. I kept on saying Alliance. I don't know why I always want to say Alliance.
Because you're thinking of the card Alliance.
I don't know what I'm thinking. Anyways, Stellar Allies, Frontier promos, and of course the Commanders expansion that we always use. So, as we said before, Connor did choose this format. I was imploring people to express their disdain, if any. I didn't really see anybody expressing any complaints or concerns. But if you do, feel free to say so in the comments or hit us up on Discord.
Are you encouraging people to complain about my format? Is that what I'm hearing? Am I getting this right?
Well,
are you encouraging our listeners to voice their opinions specifically on how bad it was?
Well, I mean, just giving them a window. Because, we do, I don't think we mentioned, we do have a Discord with the Star Realms Galactic Summit, which is one of the main Star Realms Discords out there. Very big community based. We've got a channel in the competitive section on there for WWBC Commanders. So yeah, we're there all the time, and if you want to talk your smack or just say hey, we're there. So, but I'm always looking for people who want to talk smack about Connor's formats. So So that was the top 8. We're rounded out to a little bit to the top 16 if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit more.
Sure.
So you go see 9-9, Penguin Army, Chalanek, Mopower, and Slavic. That's going to be a 4-way tie for 9th, which basically just denotes top 12. These are all players who had a chance to play for a win and in for top 8, but unfortunately lost. And then going down, same scenario, top 16 area, had a chance in the losers bracket to play for a spot to advance to top 12 and try to go further, but they did lose there. This will consist of Darklighter, JL, Connor, and Borkin Beans. That's about all we want to go backwards for this one. Very interesting top 16. If I do say so myself, I think I calculated in a post that I said we had 8 Yokums, 5 McCreadys, 2 Lees, and 1 Nandi, which top 8 alone was ridiculous, but I did not expect the Nandi to make it into the top 16. What did you think of the 16 placements of the tournament?
I think that there weren't enough leads.
That's fair. I mean, I thought 2 was pretty respectable as far as breaking through, to be honest. We saw the Yokums do what they always do in the bracket with their overwhelming numbers. They play each other out, they beat each other up, and then they always form this, I usually call it what do I call it? It's like a barrier of sorts where they just kind of blockade the
Great Wall of Yokum.
Yeah, Great Wall of Yokum. They just kind of just chill in the top 24, top 16 area, and they wait for the players to play out in the lower bracket to get there and then try to see if they can get by those Yokum walls.
Right. That's the quintessential experience of making a losers run. From personal experience, is that you look up, you win like a match or 2, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I can do this. And you look and see what your future matchups are, and they're Yokum, 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 and Yokum.
Yes.
And it feels bad.
Yeah, so this ended up being our top 16. Like I said, we a couple of Lees in there. Nice little blend of McCreadys with the expected run of Yokums. The top 4 doesn't tell the whole story, but unfortunately it is 4 placements, 4 J's, and that's how it went down, taking yet another WWBC title as commander. That'd be 7 out of 8 this season. Even like I know going into events 1, 2, and 3 before we did commander locks, the champion did play Yokum, and so we can ascertain that Yokum won almost every event besides the honey buns that we had. So yeah, with that, do you want to go into the breakdown of the win rates?
Let's call up the stats team.
The stats team, Connor stats team, as I always say.
All right, so this was the breakdown. This is the commander table of this particular format, where you can kind of glance over and see what people's matchups were against any particular commander. As usual, the first place we like to go is here, and we like to say, boy, that's a lot of Yokum mirror matches as usual. Then we like to go 1 over and see, usually this number is very close to 50-50, the Yokum versus McCree matchup. But in this particular case, Yokum definitely had probably the most definitive lead we've seen him have over McCready.
I would say so.
You love to see it, or you hate to see it, depending on what your stance is. We calculated Yokum overall had a 61% win rate against non-Yokum commanders, which is pretty nuts. In a game like this.
Yeah, I believe it was like 24 wins in 39 games. So yeah.
He's a real party pooper, that guy. You know, not the person, but the commander. The commander's a party pooper.
Yeah, what other interesting musings up here do we see? We see them, the ever surprising McCready-Lee matchup, 6 games to 2 in favor of McCready. Like, you got to assume Lee's going to get those. I don't understand. Like, what's happening?
Well, what's happening is that you need just like 1 or 2 turns to start to get it going. And McCree, he hits that gas from the word go, and he's killing you in the face from the first turn. And usually, you can't outspeed him, and you can't outdamage him because of his passive.
Yeah. I mean, we played a test game for some future formats for season 2 earlier. I know, you played a McCree Lee game in particular that just feels bad going in, and then luckily I had the heal to be able to get by, but also apparently got lucky with a clutch discard against you that helped me win that game. But I did have supplementary heal cards that kept me in that game as well. So it's definitely always a feel bad, but we know this. While we're on the topic of Lee, might as well just kind of go through it a little bit. As Connor may have predicted in the first pod, this does seem to be a format that Lee can play and thrive in, depending on what happens. Going 2-1 against 90s, 2-1 against Vulcan. I believe I am the loss for the Lees. I beat the Divine Admiral Lee with my Vulcan in this tournament, so I'll be that loss there. Haha. Going even against Newberg, getting a dub against Walsh, 1-0. We talked about the McCready, but the Yoakum matchup in particular, going 4-4. I mean, we talk about it. Like, if you're going into a 40%, like, this is a 1v1 deck building game that we're talking about. So, like, you can't look at this like you look at other stuff, in my opinion. So, like, if you're messing around in a format with a really good commander and you're taking 40% of the games in a certain format, you take those, in my opinion. And I go 50-50 against the undisputed best commander in the game. It's pretty good. So, was able to keep their footing and go 4-4. Did you play any Yokums in the tournament?
I did. I think I'm at least 2 of those wins. I played CJK and someone else.
Okay.
But yeah, at least 2 of those. 2 of those are mine. And certainly, while I didn't lose to a Yoga this time around, I've certainly lost my fair share. It happens. Can't stand up to the man like that.
All right. We'll get back to Nandi. We'll get back there in a minute. We're gonna skip over and go to Vulcan. A little bit more representation this time. I think we did talk about, it might have been the most Vulcans that we had. There was either 3 or 4. I don't remember what we said. I was one of them. I was able to get a win against the true Divine Admiral Lee, but then went down into losers where, actually, after I beat Philip, I personally got Seabus Ripper in a game that I did post on my YouTube. That was kind of hopeful in the beginning. I docked a bunch of cards, but it was still Vulcan versus Yoakum, so I got trashed pretty hard. Went down to play against my brother, who, if you remember from the pod, I was trashing jokingly, but trashing kind of hard. I did unfortunately meet my end there against my little brother, who did go on to message Connor immediately and other people to tell him that he had beaten me despite me talking so much trash. So,
well, he didn't say anything to me.
I thought you said he sent you the game when he beat me. You said he sent you the clip of our game.
Maybe.
McCready versus Vulcan?
Maybe.
I mean, I posted it too. So, in any case, that was my run. I was one of the Vulcans. Overall, I mean, Vulcan hasn't been able to find the footing, but also hasn't had the representation. There was a Vulcan that was able to get a win over Yoakum. And I believe that was Gianos, who I think when they got that win in the first round, explicitly called me and Connor out because we did not pick him to take that game down. But hey, I mean, that's not bad. So a bunch of 1s and 2s across the board. Didn't really get the variety of matchups, but that's what we have. How's Newberg look?
there wasn't too much Newberg presence, which was surprising to me because I thought that he was a pretty strong pick. But he did pretty well. Kind of has that natural advantage against Walsh and was able to capitalize on it. There's only the one game against McCree, which is also usually a solid matchup for him, but he didn't take it. Really, there's just not too many games other than really one win here, one loss there, and one of them ran into Hypaspis somewhere.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you're right. I see here in my notes. There was 2 Newbergs. Should have been the 2 basically tried and true Newberg mains, Dusto and Sheridan. So that would be those 2 players there. Walsh, a bit of a rough one for Walsh this time. Only being able to grab 1 win against the McCree matchup. Otherwise, taking some L's here and there. Only ran into Yoakum once. McCree, who we mentioned the 6-2 record against the Lees, 1-4 against the 90. We'll also get back there. Very reminiscent of Honey Buns. Like honestly, like you would have thought you were looking at Honey Buns. 2-1 against the Vulcan. I definitely one of the ones that went down to the McCready in a heartbreaking game. I should have heel scrapped. That first turn. Taking a game against Newberg, 4-1 against Walsh. Connor has been adamant about McCready more times than not taking those games against the Walsh players. Some Walsh players might disagree, but in this case, that is what happened. And then the Yoakum, 8-13 against the Yoakum decks, which I was looking at like some of the previous win rates, and it's been I think it was 13-11 in Honey Buns, but before that, almost exact 50-50s in the matchup. So we saw the coin flips go a little bit more in Yoakum's favor in this tournament.
Yeah.
And there is a reason why we skipped over 90. We're about to get back to it. Let's talk about their records here. 1-2 against the Leeds. 1-0 against Newberg. 4-1 against the McCready decks, but we mentioned that on the other side. And then 1-3 against Yoakum. So they didn't manage to take a win. But there's more reasons why we are talking about 90 right now. And why is that, Connor?
Because it's really embarrassing that 94 McCready. Is that the reason? Did I get it right? Do I get a cookie? Is that the right answer?
It's not the right answer.
Oh.
But you can have a cookie anyway. It's fine.
Awesome.
If you don't mind, getting back to the bracket for event 8. Let's see. Let's go to the standings. Yeah. We've got 1 Hypaspis on the 90 here with a top 8 run, going 6-2. And we're going to talk about this run a little bit, where they proceeded to lose the first game. There we go. I do this. No. They lost to Yoakum immediately, went down in the losers, and decided that they didn't want to lose anymore.
Dumb.
Taking on the first McCready.
0% of people predicted this match. Well, this is in losers. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yep. So this doesn't matter at this point. I always get confused about where I'm at. So I'm in the second game now.
Yeah. Taking it against a Lee, no less. DJ Khaled, another one.
Literally, that was the story of this tournament for Hypaspis. Hypaspis, our own buddy Ryan Powell, also posted a lot of his tournament games, as he usually does, on his YouTube. A lot of really crazy, nutty games. And I personally just loved watching 90 gameplay in general, which is why I was always trying to get Alderin to play more. But we know how he feels about that. Is this where I'm at?
I think so.
All right. Then he hits the first Yoakum where he actually takes it down. This was a ridiculous game in his YouTube VOD, if you guys are able to find that. So that's the fourth one. Then he plays another McCree, so he's going McCree, Yoakum, McCree matchups that are, figured to be bad in formats without chaos to really help them. But I mean, obviously, that 90s can do whatever, if the row is nice enough and, the player is able to make those acute decisions. But was able to take out Mo Power in another very nice game. And then goes on to top 8 at this point. To hit up Corey Bear, win that set 2-1 in another ridiculous set. I believe he talks about it. He refers to himself as potentially being a little lucky. He's said he went first quite a bit, but a lot of these games were insane. He had to make a lot of insane decisions throughout the tournament and throughout a lot of these games. Some of the games in this set, I will admit, were ridiculous. Just bombs, just saying, "Hey, Nandi, pick me up," and he's like, "Bet." So so just to tell you guys about that run, so just looking at this here, so this is winners bracket, comes down to losers, wins here. So this was like top 6, top 8, 12, 16, 24, 32. So you have to win here to get points in general, get here to top 32, gets a win in best of 1 for 24, wins here for top 16, gets another win here to go to top 12. These are all best of 1s. And then gets the top 12 win to go to top 8, beats McCree in 2 out of 3 games before finally succumbing to Juan Carlos Yoakum. And those games I don't believe he has posted, maybe because he doesn't intend to. Maybe they are really, really gory. Yoakum can do that to you sometimes.
YouTube has that content policy where, if people are getting just beaten, bloody, and broken, like, they're not going to let you post that. So I get it. You want to keep your channel, you want to keep your subscribers. It's all good.
Yeah. And I do like looking at the standings, too, overall. You can see the run that players went on. Obviously, the player who is on the winner's side of Grand Finals is the player that went undefeated up until the Grand Finals. So you have Yarboa taking his first loss here, where Seabus Ripper gets up, fights his way back after losing to Yarboa in the winner's final, taking on his loser's final opponent, beating them, getting back to Grand Finals, beating Yarboa 3-0, which is where you see this corresponding win and loss here. Resetting the bracket, bringing Yarboa into losers. Now it's free for all. Yarboa says, "All right, you're going to 3-0 me, I'm going to 3-0 you back." And she takes down the tournament. And that's pretty much how things go. You see Alderon's run here. Really amazing. If he would have made a 4-peat, that would have been great. But at the same time, I was going to be fearful if he was going to make another run from the loser's end.
That seems to be his MO.
Yeah. Juan Carlos, ECM, Hypaspis, Corey Bear, and then JP here. JP also. I'm a fan of the losers' runs. I hope to see when I post my top 8s, seeing more people that you can tell the people who are in the losers' run because they played more games. So I do like to see people really coming in and showing that sweat and that grind that they had to do to get to certain points. So that was the tournament. I just wanted to personally highlight Hypaspis. We told him we would. He didn't ask, so I just told him that because, to do this with Nandi, I think, was ridiculous. And
such an aggressive format.
Such an aggressive format.
Against Lees and McCree's and Yoakums. Oh, my.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. Congrats to Yarboa for getting the win. Seabus River for yet another top 8. I think this is his second place. So he has not yet been able to take one down, but Jesus, man. ECN cracking the top 8 for the first time. Obviously, Hypaspis' first top 8. And you got to give him the crown as best Yoakum of the season, although it may mostly be by default, but insane performances, multiple iconic games in the tournament series already. So we'll see what happens next season if anybody else wants to try to take that mantle from him. But I would give him the crown as the best Nandi of Season 1 WWPC.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about the future. The future of WWBC.
The future? Or
The
like
present.
the
Present of WWBC.
Okay, so you want to go into fantasy brackets, or do you want to go into fantasy brackets?
Fantasy
Now, that's fine.
brackets.
That's fair. All right, so we're going to transition to what's going on right now. As he said, is that refreshed? That says 2 players. All right. So the fantasy bracket was invitational. It was fairly simple. I tried to get people to do fantasy brackets as early as event 2. Not many people did it. And I tried to make it more interesting around event 4, where I incentivized, hey, like, you know, everybody does a bracket and has a chance to get a spot in a postseason tournament that can give points maybe towards season 2. For the winner, of course, though, for the winner, the person with the best bracket in each individual event. So that's what we did here. This is the first postseason tournament, the Fantasy Bracket Invitational, where we had 4 players qualify. You are counting that right. That says 4 players, and I did do the event, the fantasy brackets, the competitive, points thing, as far as event 4. So that would denote 5 players, which would have been fine if we had gotten 5 players. I would have did a round robin, but I'm glad it kind of rounded out to 4. The reason it did round out to 4 is because one Gianos did take 2 fantasy brackets. I believe it was back to back. Yeah,
and for that, he gets this fantasy crown. It doesn't exist, but it's a nice fantasy.
Well, why is he the 4th seed? No, he's the 4th seed because there's no. I could have randomized it. And I'm going to do the same thing next season. Just the person who wins event 1 will just get 1 seed and just go from there. So we just had 4. It rounded up pretty great. I thought about handing it down to the next place person, which in this event would have been Hypaspis. I just decided to just keep it clean here at 4 players. And Giannis did, he did win it outright. Season 2, I may end up handing it down, but we also wanted to incentivize players, even if you had won a fantasy bracket, you have every right to continue submitting them. So maybe an additional prize for next season for people who win multiple. But next season, I would like to have a full 8, because 8, 4, 8, they're just clean numbers to do just fun, simple tournaments for. So that's where they're at.
We all know that you guys have opinions on who you think is going to win and who you think is going to lose, yes, because we've seen your opinions about our opinions. So submit a fantasy bracket, get in there, throw your hat into the ring, and maybe bring yourself some points.
Yes, sir. So, so the lucky 4 here is Yarboa, Gianos, Connor, and Deanna B. I had them pick their commanders the same way that we've been doing since we've been locking the commanders. I had them mostly blind, like not denote their commanders, so not to give information to the other players, except for Connor, who just showed who he was playing. He just put a V next to his name, but he was the first person, so it didn't matter. So this is what we got here. It's just a simple double elimination. Yarboa on Newberg, Gianos on Lee, Connor on Vulcan, and Deanna on McCree. One of the prerequisites for this tournament was that there was no Yokum. The tournament is essentially the Commander standard format, but I added gambits to it. I tried to add a little bit of flair to these postseason tournaments, and also try to give a little preview of what's to come in season 2. So I don't know, no fantasy brackets for this one here, but this tournament is live. But we can kind of go with what we have here. We can't do a real fantasy bracket. Not that we plan to.
You want to do a fantasy bracket?
A fantasy bracket. Sure. To make it easy, I'm going to have... All right, so Yarboa beats Gianos.
Yes. This is your fantasy bracket.
Deja beats Connor. for those who don't know, Deja is my daughter's name, who's with Deanna B. So Deanna won't be doing the playing. I'm gonna say Connor's gonna get beat.
I'm gonna lose you to your daughter. She's so young and already experiencing her first Star Realms win.
Connor's gonna lose to my not even week old daughter.
How embarrassing for me.
And Deanna will take this one, in my opinion. So that would mean Connor and Gianos in losers. I'm gonna give it to Gianos over Connor. Yarboa and Deanna play. Deja takes down Yarboa, goes to the finals. Yarboa goes down to...
Okay, Yarboa. I know how it feels to lose to a little baby.
Yarboa.
You'll get over it.
Yarboa takes down, who would it be? Gianos, because I said Gianos beats you. So we'll go with Gianos and Lee Newberg. Man, I mean, I know Gianos got the skills. I'm going to give it to Yarboa, and then just a rematch, just a women's rematch. Yarboa and Deanna B in the finals, and I'll give it to Deanna. I'm gonna pick Deanna winning this tournament for no particular reason.
Yeah. No bias with your daughter, none of that. Just straight pure judgment. I get you.
Yep. So that tournament is going on live. I believe Connor and Deanna at least have game 1 going on.
Yep.
And so it's just very simple. There's a small points breakdown here if you want to hit that up. Hopefully, because I copied and pasted a lot of this postseason stuff and failed to edit some of it, but I believe all this is intact. So I'll be giving 30 points to the first place, 20 to the second, 15 to third, 10 to fourth. Congratulations for everybody for winning those fantasy brackets. I appreciate you doing it. It made it fun. And gave me something more to look forward to. So just trying to give back, and make it more competitive, honestly, next season. So
yeah, hey, and 4th place. Even if I take 4th place because I lost to a little baby and also Deanna, just kidding, Giannos, you real one. You still get 10 points towards your next season, and I'll take that. Every little point counts,
right? Like first place, what is that? That's a top 24 finish. So just in the books for you.
Yeah.
And then second place is top 32. So you just go in already with the top 32 under your belt. And you'll see when we get into the top 16 that those points may really matter. So what else we got?
All right. Now we're going to the future. This is the future.
Okay. The second postseason tournament. This is the end, what I call the end of season 1 grinder. This is going to be for all players who participated in any event in season 1, and is not playing in the top 16 championship. So it's going to be for us losers who, I'm looking at all you guys with me who are in the top 16 to play in a tournament here. It's a format that I put together. I basically just made it top row, middle row together, pretty much essentially almost everything that's in there. But I also omitted Yoakum and McCree to see how this would turn out. I'm very interested to see how this would turn out. Another tournament where I'm just trying to give people a taste of what's going to be happening in the next season. And we'll talk about that maybe in our next cast a little bit, just a little preview. There will be significantly less Yoakum. Won't be completely omitted, but there will be less Yoakum. So trying to give people a little heads up, playing in these tournaments, realizing that there will be some that Yoakum and or other commanders will not be able to be played. So
no one is safe.
Yeah, so this format's going to be interesting. Basically, like I said, it's essentially top row, middle row, base set, Colony Wars. You got both Gambit sets, Year 1 promos, bases, both heroes, fleets, Year 2 promos, both United dual faction sets, and of course commanders. So looking forward to see how that one turns out. You are free to sign up for this tournament as soon as now. We're going to get this one fired up next. So everybody who's watching this, I'll post it. Also, if you're watching it now, just feel free to sign up. Obviously, players who are not in the top 16. So if I see you, if you see your name in there, Aldrin, Connor, other people in top 16.
How do you know I'm in top 16?
Yeah, I just spoiled that, but it's fine. Yeah. So if you're in top 16, don't sign up for this tournament. That's all.
And you'll fight it out for. Also, here's the point breakdown.
Yes. Cool. A little different about this one. It is the end of the season. It's a postseason. But we do have to give the praise and the prestige to the people who are playing in top 16. So not as many points as they're going to be competing for. It was hard to kind of figure out the point breakdown that I wanted to do. I hope you guys think that this is okay. This is what I'm going to roll with. Only the top 16 players will get points for this tournament. So it's not like top 32 where it gets, you can get 20 points from that. So you have to make it to the top 16 of this bracket to get some points, where you will get 5 for the top 16 as soon as you get there, 10 for top 12, 20 for top 8, 25 for top 6, 30 for top 4, 35 for third, 40 for second, and 45 for first. So another pretty nice little chunk of points that will go toward next season. You will get a head start immediately and will be seeded as such. Anything to add on top of that?
Seeded from the first event?
Yep. I've decided to go with that. With all the points that are kind of getting thrown around, I might as well. I'll probably randomize everything else and then just seed.
Seed it on down.
Yep, seed it on down. And you'll see there, just like I said, right at the bottom of this, these points earned here will go towards season 2 point totals. And I say thank you in advance as well. Thank you for all making this an inaugural season so awesome. And I'm looking forward to keeping this going.
Yeah, it's been a fun time. I've enjoyed tracking all of the statistics. Special shout out, between friendly matches and the events. I've got 1,000 matches now recorded to pull data from, which is cool. It makes me feel like I have something substantial, something meaningful in my life, which I don't usually have. All right, that's a joke. I have, a bunch of stuff, but it's a big number. It's a big milestone. So thank you all for participating. So I guess in order to find out if you're eligible for this tournament, we have to see if you're part of the other one, don't we?
Sounds right.
So let's look at the rankings. Now, these are the rankings prior to Event 8. We're going to take you on our little journey as we observed all of the top-ranking players, where they stood, and then we'll show you where they ended up. So I won't spend too much time going through because we did this last time. You've seen these names before, but we monitored the top 21 people, and that 21 was a significant number for a reason. You can see the points, they start with your bow at the bottom at 265, and they start slowly climbing up, into the 340s area. We have quite a few people in the 330s, 340s, then kind of another jump to 380, and then kind of another jump to basically 440, and then about 500, and then mid 500s. The jumps are just kind of getting bigger and bigger. And then we have the top dogs, as they have been for basically the entire season. Rollin Paw in second at 685, and Alderin in first at 920.
Yeah. We went over a lot of this in the past pod that we talked about. talked about some narratives going in. Some people, like as far back as about 21, that could reasonably get in. And we even found out during the tournament that there were people far further than 21 that potentially had shots, depending on performance. So it was pretty nutty to watch that bracket play out.
Honorable mention once again to Hypaspis, who had the opportunity. He's not tracked here, and I'll spoil that first, that he did not make top 16. But if he did win, he had to get first place. 250 would have netted him exactly just barely into that top 16 spot.
Yeah, and just think about how that would have had to go down. You saw the top 4 players and commanders, and he finished top 6. So he would have had to beat Joachim in top 6, Joachim in top 4, Joachim in top 3, and Joachim in grand finals, all in minimum best of 3 sets.
He'd have to get a reset on Joachim
and a reset.
That's a lot of Joachims.
That's a lot of Joachims, and that's a lot of games to be taken too.
And reminder that Joachim has a 61% win rate, according to our calculations, against non-Joachim commanders. So that means winning the 40% coin flip in sets of 3, 2 out of the 3, many times in a row. Just statistically speaking only, which would have been insane if he managed to pull it off, use his skill to give him that leverage and push him forward.
But yes, thank you for the ride nonetheless. I passed this. I was hype in the Discord every single win that transpired. It was amazing.
And so we also wanted to take a snapshot of what we were looking at on April 18th, about halfway through the tournament, I would say. Little under, maybe. So here is, my math is on the right here. We can kind of ignore most of these columns. The right was their current total, but when we go down towards the bottom one and we look at about Politis on down, you can see that suddenly, right around Raka, who is in, we have...
Oh yeah, should we probably denote that like the tab, because everything was like 1 lower, right?
Oh yes, yeah. If you're looking at the left side of the screen, there's a header at the top. So
I mean, at this point, Mo Power is in,
right? So Rock is at 370. A win puts him over Mo Power. Like, looking at this current bracket, he would give him 30 points and put him over. Yarboa, a win would have put her over. Wachowanek, same thing. Mo Power and Darklighter, neck and neck. And even going up into the top 16, Darklighter, myself, and Ninja are only 5 and then 10 points ahead of Mo Power. The gap was literally a 5-point gap, 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 a 10-point gap, and a 15-point gap. It was insanely neck and neck. And basically, at this point, the next few matches determined who made the cut and who didn't. And really, there were something like 6 or 8 people competing for, Politis is 12. So the top 6 slots. So there's about 10 people competing for, 4 slots basically, which was insane.
Depending on performance. So obviously, if you're in and ahead, you're just trying to do the best you can. Everybody's trying to win the tournament. But if you're just in a position where you're trying to make sure you block the people behind you from getting in, you just try to cover their bases, right? Because every points that you're getting are points that they're going to get too. So if you can make sure the gap doesn't move that much, that's kind of where you want to be.
Yep, every little point matters. At this point, you see Politis, Ninja, and myself are still kind of early on in the tournament because we've only got 20 points. So we've won a single match.
Yeah.
Yarboa put herself on the map, because right now she's in like winners top 8 at this point, or top 4. I don't know what that math works out to be. I think it's top 8.
Right. Yeah, the 100 top 8, and then the 110 is like assuming like if you're in top 8 winners, which she was. If she loses, she's worst case and losers bracket top 6, which is where the 110 points comes from. So, but we know that she did take down the victory, so she stayed in the winner's side. Going into the tournament, Connor, as one of the people in this running, what were your thoughts? How were you feeling going? Was it important for you to make this inaugural top 16?
Yeah, I was sweating bullets because for most of this tournament, I've been playing Lee, and I think when Commanders, and especially this series, started out, Lee was definitely seen as a weaker pick, and I really, really wanted to make top 16 and say that I basically did it with Lee. It's certainly where the lion's share of all my points are from. I did play, I think, a couple different people early on when we weren't commander locked, but I definitely really, really wanted to make top 16. And since you've already spoiled it, I'm glad that I was able to win a couple more points here and there.
Yes.
And keep my spot because I wanted to see that representation of our red and yellow boy.
For sure. Yeah, we were. I'm curious, and I'm still curious. How many of you? I mean, we know we're all playing for fun. There's all these leagues, SRPC, BGG, that we play in, WWBC, where it's all fun. But we are playing to win. But I was curious as to how many people really were maybe in the same spot as Connor here, who was thinking that I really want to make this top 16. That question was answered somewhat with some particular people messaging throughout the tournament, maybe even after their exits, like, "Hey, like, where am I at?" So it was really fun to hear that, and added to the drama that I was already feeling just watching the bracket transpire. So that's what we look to do here. Like, we know we're having fun, but we're also we're playing for something, even if it's big bragging rights and being at the top echelon of players. So it was fun to see that happen, and I hope going forward that competitive nature is that kind of still continues. So ready?
Shall we do the reveal?
All right. So yeah, I guess it's about that time, guys.
Do we want to go from the bottom up, or do we want to?
Ooh, let's go from the top down.
Okay.
Can we do that?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, if we really want to do that, I can just. Yeah, I mean, it'll be quick. They're not
like
going to pay attention.
But
everybody, viewers at home, close your eyes, quick. Close your eyes, quick. All right, you can open your eyes. We're going from the top down. Alderaan. I have to say my bit about Alderaan at 1,070 points. The magic number this time around was you needed about 400 points to make top 16, and Alderaan more than doubled that. So in his points alone, he has basically hogged another top 16 spot all to himself, and then some, and then some. 2.5 spots he earned in points.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the records here too. They are indicative. They're indicative of success and sustained and consistent success. And even as you go down past the top 16, like, you'll see some people who obviously got in the 200s, high 200s, mid 200s, that have slightly positive records. Like, I mean, you break even in these double elimination brackets, you can find yourself playing for maybe a top 16 spot in the tournament. And just to see plus 24, like, that speaks for itself. So, like, just seeing people with just surpluses and wins of like 6 games just shows that, that they've had the success, which is, it doesn't look like much, but it does matter in a double elimination setting. So congratulations, Alderaan, for taking the first overall seed.
Yeah.
Next up, number 2, Sebus Ripper at 710 points, boasting a 26-16 record, coming off a second place, as we just said earlier. Sebus has always been in the top 10 almost the entire season, if not the entire season. There was a few fluctuations between like 3 and 7, I remember, in the middle of the series. And I honestly thought Sebus was going to be just set at where he was at. I think he was the 6th seed in going into this tournament. And the second place run just usurped him straight to number 2, where Rollenpaw has set comfortably this entire season. I honestly just thought he was just going to be there. I didn't think getting past 695 was going to happen. But Sebus said, move out of the way. I want number 2. And here he is. Who's next?
Next, as we've said, freshly knocked down from his otherwise thought to be permanent spot at number 2, Rollenpaw in third place with 695 points. Netted himself a few points this time around, but still an impressive showing with his numerous bouts against Alderaan in the top 16, in grand finals multiple times. He earned himself a crap ton of points and sits at number 3 for that reason.
Yeah. Quick apology to our recent match in SRPC Rollenpaw with that Lee game. I had to do it to you, Lee versus Ryokum. But it's all love.
Don't apologize. Lee number 1. Fourth place. Who's that?
Corey Bear, 88. 640 points, 26-14 record, coming off a top 8, another top 8. Man, I feel like that's top 8 number like 3 or 4. I don't have it up here, but definitely number 3 or 4. Insane run. Just glad he's playing, glad he's here. Looking forward to seeing how he does in top 16.
And right behind him is I'll give this a shot and see how this feels again. The Swiss Penguin Army knife. Coming in at 5th with just 10 points shy of Corey Bear. Again, he's been playing a lot of different commanders that don't rhyme with Bokum. And he is, as one of the people, like he is the highest ranking person who has not touched Yokum. So, congratulations. Showing his stuff.
630. Like, I didn't know where these points were going to go up when I made this series. I thought 8 was a good number to go in. I definitely didn't see 1,000 points being eclipsed. But it's like seeing the top 6 up here with 600 plus points is pretty impressive. I gotta wonder, with season 2 being the way that we know it's going to be, if it's going to be much more balanced, or like with the points maybe a little bit less and a lot more contention there. But big numbers, insane. Where we're at 6.
Yep.
Number 6, Juan Carlos, 610 points. Coming off a 125? It's a top 4 finish. Yeah, a lot of. I think a lot of these players, aside from PA, Penguin Army, Yokum players. Corey Bear is back and forth. Some McCree, some Yokum. Did play Nandi and Honey Buns, which I am now referring to as Nandi Buns, which has been called on Discord. Probably was called prior to that, but that's kind of been taken. So I like Nandi Buns a lot. Juan Carlos just killing it. And yeah, we'll see how he does.
7th place, Cisco Alvarez. Cisco has won me a bunch of points at fantasy brackets as I picked him to make top 4s, and he consistently made quite a few of them. As I believe Yokum. And
might have been all the way through. Yeah,
consistent, excellent performances. So congratulations, and thanks for the fantasy bracket points.
Number 8, Sir Slavic, 555 points clean. He's got a 2nd place, bunch of other runs, just coming off of 60 points, which should be a top 12. So he was 1 win away from making the top 8 as well, which would have been his, third top 8. He's got 2 under his belt. So welcome to the top 16, Slavic. I don't believe you were ever in doubt. So
Number 9, America's favorite Yoshi, Bork and Beans. Now the second highest placing non-Yokum player, about 100 points behind PA. He played Lee this last tournament. He's played Newberg quite a lot. I don't think I've ever seen him play McCree in events, so I guess he's the top ranking non McCree or Yokum playing player.
Yeah, can't speak on what he did before we had the commander lock, because he was known to be very, very pro Newberg before switching over to some different commanders. But I know in the earlier runs, he made a couple top 8s in that span of time. He's got 3 under his belt, so he made a really nice head start for himself at the beginning of the season before we did the commander locks. Definitely one of the more grindier records at 18 and 16, as you can see. But he did finish pretty strong with that top 16 performance with Lee. So, oh boy, you can take this one. Number 10.
I'm not gonna. This time I gotta do her justice because I really screwed it up in the opening with a terrible pun. So I just gotta casually ease into this one. Number 10 is Yarboa. Has snaked her way to the top 16. Oh, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, this is the most fun thing to watch in Event 8. Besides Hypaspis' run, to see if he could actually go the distance. Just talking about in the fantasy bracket when we did it in the last pod going into the tournament, what needed to happen, and seeing it come to fruition. There's just a lot of drama there. If you're watching sports and watching that team do what they have to do to make it into the playoffs, that's kind of what it felt like watching Yarboa play all of her games. And for me personally, she would message me, with the results, just so I can put them in the bracket in case she had issues submitting it. So, every time she would tell me, oh, man, I won again. And every time she would sound like she was surprised. Going back to her, top 8 run a couple events ago, I was like, man, we all know Yarboa is a monster. She could do this any day. So 515 points coming from that 265 plus 250. Literally what Connor was saying in the last pod. That's the reason anybody can do it. I believe those are your exact words.
Everyone can win. 250 points is a lot. Like I said, the magic number was about 400, and so basically you could get the equivalent of a second and a first place win, and you were in the top 16.
Yeah. Looking at some people. That we'll get to. But we already talked about that. Number 11. Also, congrats, Yarboa, on the win and cracking this top 16 to play for the chance to be the Season 1 champ. Number 11, Zim 108. McCree God himself. 475 points, came off a top 24, so he did trickle some points there. I don't think he was not ever in trouble, but definitely got him, I think, a +1 in the tournament to get him those points and just make sure that he was definitely safe at 11. So good job on that.
After that is CJK Flyer at just 5 points behind at 470. CJK had accidentally missed a tournament, but still with 7 tournaments worth of points.
It was never in doubt.
Even if he didn't even. The real play was to just skip out on this one too, and even at 440, you still would have been fine. Just assert your dominance by saying, "I don't even need these last 2 tournaments. I'm good. You guys can fight over this."
Jesus. Good stuff, Chris. 3 top 8s. He's up there for some of the most this season. 18 and 14 record. got some points to boot. We'll see you in top 16. And speaking of that first and second place being all you really need, at 13, we've got Politis. 445 points, 16 and 8 record. He was safe no matter what. It did look a little bit weird as it was getting down to it, but Connor did tell us that he was pretty good, particularly after he got his 20 points. He was able to beat Imam in a match that turned out to be fairly important. But outside of those 20 points, we talked about it in the last pod. First place and second place, 2 tournaments. He has no other points besides this one that he just got, and he's in top 16. So
that's all you need. Oh, it's my turn to announce since we're going in order. And what do you know? 14th place. It's me. Yay! I'm awesome. Woo! I did it, and I did it with Lee, and I'll do it again. See you next season.
Yes, Connor, 430 points, 21 and 16 record, plus 5 in the win column. Really solidifying it. I can tell you now, he was sweating the entire tournament, as he said.
Never any doubt. Not one doubt. I was fine.
He was literally calling in favors. He was like text messaging people like, hey, I need you to beat this person. I need you to beat that person. It was pretty hilarious.
Fake news. I had it the whole time, baby.
But did have to do some work himself. And as you can see from the plus 50, he was able to take down a top 16 finish, which was really good and exactly what the doctor ordered, exactly what he needed to do. And he finds himself competing for a spot, or competing for a chance to win WWBC Champion Season 1. 15, another player, one of those players who I mentioned before, who I could tell definitely wanted to make this top 16, was interested, hit me up quite a few times as the tournament was going down. It's like, hey, how am I looking? After he unfortunately went down a little bit earlier than he wanted to, but did net those 20 points. Again, getting that top 32, it's points. It does something, especially when you're in the run here. So he's 16 and 12, Ninja. He is a WWBC champion. He's got 2 top 8s under his belt. And what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just about him hitting me up for questions. I remember early on he was saying, so where am I at? And I was like, well, I sent him a list of the people who were trailing him, and it was 5 or 6 players, and I told him that they were all still in the tournament, and he was like, oh god. So that just goes to show you how close this was, and it's going to get even ridiculous as we trickle on down. So I'll let you finish off and then close it.
Coming in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The final spot. Darklighter at just 5 points over the 17th spot at 395 points. Now, as I told you, we were sitting back and watching things, and we were sure that we were going to see Darklighter and Mopower actually get to play for the top 16
that
spot.
That was another thing we were supposed to talk about. Can we get to the bracket real quick? Oh,
sure.
Man. Yeah, so it's this bracket. And then, full bracket. You can trickle it down. 32 is probably fine. And then there are losers. Yeah.
Right, so this little corner of Dusto, Hypaspis, and Dustov, any of them taking first place had the opportunity to get put into top 16 with 250 points. And because in doing so, they would lock out the other remaining competitors of Darklighter and Mopower, who were the only other people at the time who could surpass 400.
Yes.
So this tree right here that Hypaspis ultimately took out was the kind of tree of destiny for that last spot. And before even I think even before Dusto got bumped down 2 losers even, Darklighter and Mopower were here, and we were like, oh man, we might actually see a match. See if they maybe have a recording of that the match that determined top 16.
Yeah, it was insane. Like we thought they were on a collision course. Like Darklighter just needs to win here, and see Mopower in the next game, which was going to be was going to be nuts. Somebody was getting kicked out. Somebody was keeping their hopes alive, and one Hypaspis just decided to crap on all of that and just said, you know what? I think I want to make top 8 myself. So, yeah, he literally beat Dustoff, beat Dusto, beat Darklighter, and beat Hypaspis. He just foiled all of their plans. So, like, not only did, like, Mopower had a chance to even, with a win.
Yes, a win at that stage over Hypaspis would have guaranteed him the top 16 spot.
Yeah.
But Hypaspis said, screw your prediction. I want some points.
More points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember watching that, and it was just so crazy. Again, the Hypaspis Mopower game, as well as the Hypaspis Darklighter game, are on YouTube if you guys want to watch those on Hypaspis' channel. So that just wanted to show you guys that something that I meant to mention, but I guess I couldn't have earlier when we were harping on Hypaspis and his amazing run. But a very huge factor. Another big factor while we're on this bracket, if you go down a little bit, is the Wachawanek JP game.
Right, because Wachawanek also at one point was one of the people who had the possibility of hitting that 400 number. And JP, who chooses his own destiny and picks whatever tournaments he wants to play in, respect that, absolutely. Show up whenever he's needed, throws that bit of chaos in, and denied Wachawanek the ability to make top 16 because he was having too much fun rushing people down.
Yeah, like another spoiler there. As in, like, spoiler of plans. Yeah, where was he at? Wachawanek. We'll get there when we go back to the rankings. But yeah, it's like at what point?
We can go down here, right? He had 385.
So 60. So he was that game was for top 8. So
for
like
40 points. So
yeah,
he would have basically been up there with me, past Ninja, past Dark.
Yeah, another person. Yeah, a win, and he's arguably in, if not in. Insane. Like, so just adding to the drama here, guys. Like, it was so fun to watch. Like, I was refreshing my log on challenge like every day, like every 30 minutes, whether I was at work or at home, just hoping for some developments in the bracket. So Darklighter. Oh my gosh, I was worried because I didn't see it when I closed the tournament. I just kind of just reseeded or did my numbers and resorted everything and waited till the end, and then I renumber everything myself on my end. And I was curious who that 16 spot was going to be because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And yeah, to see Darklighter just stand pat and just see the 5-point difference. Like, look at this. Ninja 410, Darklighter 395, Mopower 390, Wachawanek 385, Starmark 380. Oh my god!
And even Raka, like we said, a couple more, one more win puts you at 400, 30 more points.
Like, what do we say?
And I feel bad for Starmark, who went 0-2 and out because preserving and getting any amount of points would have also guaranteed him at the end of the day.
That's what
400 points.
That's what I wanted to confirm, right? Because Starmark lost up here for top 32, right? Is that correct? Those 20 points put him in at 400.
Yeah.
And like, this is the third or fourth instance where a player was just one win away from just making top 16, depending on how things fell out. Unfortunately, the spoiler role in that game was Patriarch 215, who was able to take Starmark down in a McCree mirror match after Starmark had unfortunately lost another mirror match in winners against Mopower. So that turned out like to shape his destiny. So just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
So should we rattle off everybody else as a thanks for?
Oh, sure, yeah. Just
Should we do it like a poker rap or just like all regular like?
we could just scroll. Scroll slowly. Yeah.
All right.
Got Raka. He was also still in that running. Lost a little bit early. Lux. One of the players was also in the running, as we said. Lux, cough cough, was one of the players that Connor was putting hits out on. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Putting hits out on.
Oh yeah, you hit up Divine Admiral Lee himself when they had that match in Losers, telling him specifically to please take
You're really
him
doing
down.
this to me, huh? You're really doing this
I gotta
to me,
let the people know what went down, man.
Fine. You goddamn right I put out a hit on you. You son of a bitch. You're too good of a player. You're too good of a player to be having walking around here taking other people's spots. I couldn't have that. So I had to have him take you out.
Oh my gosh. Random note while we were talking about Divine Admiral Lee. There was a thing in the Discord about the pronunciation of Lee.
Lee. It's pronounced Lee. Lee.
Yes.
Lee. Lee.
Okay.
Lee. L-E-L. Lee. Lee.
Just
You've heard it.
Just for people who are wondering, and we'll probably force Philip himself to look at this at some point.
I'm going to record a video of Philip, a.k.a. Divine Admiral Lee. All the people, I'm going to show him the thread of everybody pronouncing his name wrong, and then he's going to be crying, and then it's going to fade to black, and then it's going to be like a PSA, and it's going to be, don't make people cry because of your pronunciation. Support Divine Admiral Lee's alignment cause today.
These are the things that only Connor thinks of. But yeah, so going. Special thanks to everybody who participated. We'll mention them here. We got Kuntz, well known in the Discord. Hypaspis himself, best 90. Belush for making a run as well. Had a second place run in there to put himself arguably in a position where he could have done something if he did well enough. Dusto, respect for playing Newberg every single tournament, even in the one where you accidentally picked Yoakum and confused everybody. In the commander pick, he didn't actually play Yoakum because we all know how he feels about Yoakum. He's putting #ban Yoakum every chance he gets. ECM, JP runs funny, Paul Solomon, Dust Off, The Mystic. I hope we get you back for season 2 some. I know he decided not to play the past 2 or 3 events. Myself for being trash, 9-16, not making top 16 in my own
You did
circuit.
good, kid. You did good.
I tried. Gianos, JL, a newcomer who's played in the second half of the season and I'm pretty sure he played, 6 losses there, so that's 3 tournaments. He did top 16 or better every single time. He did top 16, top 12, top 12. So I got to think that he was probably going to be in that run if he played more.
Oops.
All berries.
All Yokums.
Castan did not play some of the rest of the events in the season, but did play with us a lot early. We appreciate you. Markbot 3000. Imam, always love. Rip, one of the true Lees. Artan, Agent Seto, the commissioner of BGG himself. Silent Al. All right, man. Silent Al, we gotta settle this. We need you to play in season 2 with us. I know you don't like the commander locks, but I don't care. We need you in here. You were killing it. I don't know if that was because it wasn't commander locks, but you were killing it early on, and it would have been fun to see how you would have did with all these other guys. We know how amazing you are. So come out for season 2, please. Phil Meister, Divine Admiral Lee himself there, as we talked about. Patriarch, Astarlia, DG3. I'm calling it. DG3 is going to make top 16 next season. I'm just going to call that right now. Eagle Eye, Royal Lance, recent Star Realms legend, I think in PAX East. So congratulations to him, and thanks for playing with us. Deanna B, Joel Roll, Invasion, Nautical Stew, Dre Money, Unspeakable, Wet Yeti, Octo Chimp, Acox89, Bahamut 619. I don't know how to say that.
Ooh, I'm going to say Leicester.
Thanks for playing with us, man. I hope you play with us next season. D-Zilla, had fun having you play. I think the 2 tournaments with us. Mequak, Danny, thanks for playing with us. Sheridan, pleasure having you here, talking with you on Discord. Josh Abram, Ken Fusion, Cool Jets, Kamas, Dwyle, as Connor said before, until we get it correct, and that's what we're going to go with. Dream Seed, Farron Q, Gunstar, and Spacer.
Nice.
So, thank you everybody for playing in Season 1 of WWBC. All of you guys are eligible to play in the Season 1 end of season grinder. So let's end the season on a good note, and then we will go into Season 2 as soon as possible. Is there anything else that you wanted to do? Did you want to line up the bracket? It would just be something as simple as typing it, but just to see, we can show people who the matchups are going to be, but it's up to you.
We want to hear in the discussion who you guys think is going to be either in Discord or the YouTube comments or whatever. Who you guys think are going to be is the winner of top 16, and who's going to make a good run, who's going to 0-2 out playing Lee. It's me. That one's me. That was the easy one. We want to hear what you guys have to say, and for those of you in the grinder, good luck. Get some good points in there, and for those of you in the top 16 with me, I'm coming for you.
Let's see here. Where's the key? We have the format.
Oh yeah. Pull that up real quick. The format for the finals is VWR, all 3 base sets, Heroes, Fleets, Year 2 promos, Command Assault, Stellar Allies, Frontier events, and Frontier promos and Commanders. So, a little something for everyone.
Some stuff I wanted in, stuff I didn't want in, but I'm just curious to see how this one shakes out. This tournament will be seeded 1 through 16, just like a normal bracket would be. It's going to be it's a little different. Our point structure is on here as well, right?
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yep. All players in the top 16 are coming away with points for next season. Point structure you see here. Top 16, 40 points. Top 12, 50. Top 8, 70. Top 6, 80. Top 4, 90. Third place, 100. Second place, 125. And the first place will get 150 points to start off for next season. So like I said, it would be a regular 1 to 16 seeded bracket, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, and going down. That's why I wasn't see how it was going to go. But can you show the thing, the commanders, how they pick the thing here? So go up into custom fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I can just click actions and edit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't denote your commander upon.
Right.
It's a secret.
Yes.
It's a secret who all of you are playing, except for me. I'm telling you now, this one's free. This one's on me. You know it's me. But everybody else, it's a secret. Keep your cards close.
Yep. So the usual question, what commander will you be committing to for this event? Please do not go on ahead. It helps me usually on the other ones, but please do not reveal your pick. I will do that for you upon tournament event start, just to leave a little surprise going into the event for your opponent. Players, get your commanders picks ready. Everybody is legal for this one. We did play all of season 1 with Yoakum. So I would be remiss to not let Yoakum be available for the championship. So do what you got to do. Make your picks. The format, the very first prelim round will be best of 1. So we're just breaking it off immediately. Just best of 1 for that first game. Sorry if you don't like it.
But it's double elimination.
And then from that point on, it's best 2 out of 3 throughout the rest of the bracket leading up into the loser and winners finals, where those matches in the winners final and the losers final will be best of 5, and then the grand finals will be best of 7. So that's what we're doing for the season 1 championship. So a lot of games. The goal of the best of 1 is to create that potential imbalance, that potential chance that matchups can go certain ways depending on what happens, and just shake things up from the jump. Maybe people will pick differently. I don't know that will change, but that's my mindset going into it. I want to put people on their toes immediately, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this bracket shakes out. So best of 1 just for the first round.
Well, if you lose, you're in top 12, right? Losers are in top 12. There's also a best of 1?
No, just the first game.
Okay, good to know.
Just the first game. Everybody's first match is best of 1. And when you go down to loser, it's best of 3 from there. So it's just a straight up split off point. So if you're that Yoakum and you lose to somebody's Lee or you lose to somebody's Vulcan, you're just in losers. That's just how it is. And you play best of 3 from there. Fight your way to the losers finals, where there's going to be best of 5, and then the grand finals is best of 7. So playing a lot of games here. I'm curious to see how people pick. I honestly don't think this is going to change too much, but if somebody wants to try something different, especially considering everybody gets points, maybe try something out. But we know y'all trying to win, so we'll see what happens. Anything else to cap it on?
I'm coming for you. I'm going to lose, but I'm going to make it look real close.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Sorry for the gaps in between. Just a lot of stuff that we wanted to get to, but we're trying to save up for future stuff. So good luck, everybody, in Fantasy Bracket, and the postseason grinder for the people who aren't in top 16, and everybody who's playing for this top 16 championship.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for participating, and we hope to see everyone and more next season.
All right, signing out. Y'all. See y'all.